She is our actually Airbnb expert, so she's going to tell us a lot about that. So, can you just tell us kind of how you got into short term rentals, like kind of like y'all's backstory?
Yeah, of course. So I had no experience in real estate whatsoever until we started our Airbnb. So I actually went to school for broadcast journalism and had dreams of being an on-air host on TV or radio. So I actually
Right.
was, yeah, I worked in TV and radio for the last like 7 years in the events and marketing side for
Okay.
iHeartRadio. Yeah, so I did that for a while, and just recently, last year actually, decided to go full time in the real estate space, and I got into that because my husband forced me to. So
That worked out.
he pretty much, yeah. I don't know, was it the same for you guys?
Yeah,
Pretty much.
basically, she doesn't like talking in front of people, but she loves like designing, like fixing up houses and stuff like that. So she loves that part. She just doesn't like the whole talking in front of people.
I like the back end,
Yeah.
not so much
Yeah, totally.
the
Yeah, same. So the way me and Tony got started was, he's just always had an interest in real estate. So once we graduated college, he kind of just deep dived and self educated himself with a ton of, education on real estate, and he became confident enough to, start purchasing long term rentals. We started in Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, with long term rentals, and I still had no desire or interest to know what he was doing, what he was buying. I did not care. It was so confusing. Up until last year, like I said, he had a change in heart and decided to do short term rentals instead of long term. And once he made that switch, I became interested, and
There you
the reason I became interested is one, because the money was more exciting. Long term rentals, you get like $100 a month once you pay all the expenses, But with short term rentals, it's like, you're getting literally, I don't know, whoever's listening, if you guys have the Airbnb app, you get that cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching whenever someone
go.
books. Like, who wouldn't want to be on board with that? So once he made the transition to focus on short term rentals, I was on board and haven't looked back ever since.
Nice. So
Yeah.
did y'all switch over completely to short term, or you still build?
Yeah, so we sold the long term rentals. I believe he had a total of four, and we used that money to reinvest into properties for short term rentals. And now we're exclusively short term rental teams.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's kind
Yeah.
of like what my wife Emily wants us to do because I was more like trying to do multifamily, trying to burr all that stuff, but she wants
Yeah.
to do like I want to design these Airbnbs and everything like that. 'Cause it
Yeah.
looks so much fun. Yeah. So
Yeah, it just seems a little bit more exciting, and I don't know, at least for it sounds like for the both of us as husband and wife duo, that I felt in the short-term rental space I could provide value and help make a successful short-term rental business compared to the multifamily. Tony was interested in that too, and it was like above my head. I was like, what are you even talking about, But yeah, I think maybe for all the dumb wives out there, short-term rental space will make more sense for you too.
I feel like it's probably a lot more fun too because like even when you're doing like a long term like investment properties, like you're not really trying to make the house look like amazing, like
Yeah, that's
spectacular or
true.
anything like that. But like
Totally.
Airbnbs, you can kind of like it's like a designer's heaven. Like you just go out there,
Yeah.
create whatever you want.
You have to make it look nice, otherwise no one's gonna book there.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be appealing in those photos.
Yeah.
So what is it like? One of our big hesitance is like bringing up jumping into something we've never done before. What is it like being an Airbnb host or being like a short term rental like host? Like how is that all about?
So, we had no experience prior to doing it ourselves too. So I think when you first get that property and you go live, it's so exciting, and because you've just put so much work into it, it's officially live. So it's a mixture of being super excited and really nerve-wracking because you're providing this experience for these people that are paying decent money for, they opted for choosing somewhere else like a hotel to stay at your property. So I feel like there's a lot of pressure that you put on yourself. So I would say mixture of excitement, pressure, stress, but it's a really rewarding feeling. Like I said, you work your butts off to make the place desirable, and then once you see, like I said, that cha-ching come in, it's just like a really satisfying moment. And the reviews, when people give good reviews, like it just like comes full circle over and over again because guests are staying there every so often. So it's awesome.
Do y'all just list your properties just on Airbnb, or do you do like multiple one like VRBO or I don't know whatever like?
Yes, we just use those two platforms. So we're on VRBO and Airbnb. Yeah, for whatever reason, we noticed that Airbnb is a little bit, not even a little bit, a lot more, uh, what's the
Popular?
word? Yeah, more popular, more frequently booked through Airbnb. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm.
So like, what made like I guess so? What is it like though? Like, do you just like manage the guests when they come in? Like, how is
Like, what's the day to day
yeah
of operating an
Got
Airbnb?
it. So that's what I do. So me and my husband Tony, we kind of separate our duties. So he's more the acquisitions. He's the one that does the behind the scenes analysis, to acquire the properties from the get go. And once we lock them in, that's where I kind of come in and help design the spaces, get the properties up on the websites. And then from then on, I'm the one that pretty much communicates with the guests on a daily basis and our cleaners and our handyman. But
you
just to
have
give
to
you an
make the
idea,
business successful?
well, yeah, pretty much it's team
That's not
effort.
good.
But yeah, so what a day to day looks like is I every morning I wake up and I check my apps. So I check the VRBO and Airbnb app, and there's always messages. Hopefully, you guys have a lot of messages too, because that means you're booked. So, well, we check our messages, I respond, and it's just guests, asking if they can check in earlier, asking if we have coffee at the property. So, just kind of just imagine yourself being like the front desk representative at a hotel 24/7. So,
Yeah,
doing that, and then communicating with your cleaners. So for each market or every set of properties, we have a few markets and different cleaning teams for each, but we have group texts with our myself, my husband, and our cleaners, and we communicate on a daily basis if needed. We prefer not to. We trust them, and we don't micromanage. But if something were to come up, let's say, there's no hot water running, they would text us and let us know. And that's where I would have to call a plumbing company and kind of troubleshoot from afar. But yeah, those kind of things happen on a weekly basis. So it's literally like running a hotel. I
yeah.
didn't know that until I had to start doing it.
Yeah, I think I saw like it was like a Netflix show, and they were talking about like I think it was like Instant Hotel. There's like, oh, it's more or less you're doing a small hotel, and you want to create like small memory spaces throughout your
Yeah,
rentals, like
absolutely.
as like I don't know what it's called. Like, I think he said it was like Kodak moments or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was.
So,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's literally what it is. So think about it, you're pretty much like the operations manager, the guest service representative, the
yeah.
marketing person, like, and everything in between.
yep.
So where do you usually get your like when you because you said when he helps you do all the financing aspect and you have to go and design it. So where do you get your design inspiration to like I'm gonna design it this way for this reason? Like how do you go about
Um,
deciding that?
so our cabins in Tennessee, we have a few cabins in Tennessee, and those ones were already turnkey properties, so we didn't have to design them too much. I would just, change a couple of things, replace things. So, and wherever there's cabins, mostly everything is, wood and yeah, bear theme, so those don't require much creativity there, but, like our properties in Joshua Tree, some are a little bit themed. We have like a '70s and '90s house, and that idea just kinda sparked in our minds because both properties, they're really cute tiny homes and they sit on the same lot. So we thought it would be really cool to have, complementary themes for the 2. That way, in case people wanna book both houses, it just kind of made sense for both. And I think it was my genius idea to come up with the '70s and '90s house. And yeah, like I said, it was just an idea that we came up with to have complementary themes. So that's that's how we came up with that one. But the other properties that we have in Joshua Tree are pretty, what's the word, like neutral, universal for the Joshua Tree vibe, very deserty, neutrals, that kind of a theme, very minimalistic. So you just kind of fit with what the market,
I got
the vibe that the market is.
yeah,
Like I personally wouldn't do like a heavy like rock and roll type house or something in Joshua Tree. That's not the kind of crowd that it draws.
I got
So we were really nervous about the 70s and 90s house because, Joshua Tree people that go there are really chill and mellow and go to, get out of the hustle and bustle of life. So we weren't sure how great that theme would do.
yeah.
But yeah, if you're picking my brain, that's my answer.
Huh. I didn't even think of it like that.
As far as your properties, do y'all just like keep your eyes open for anything, or do you target specific like destinations or?
As far as market is concerned, that's really Tony's world. He's the one that, kind of takes charge as far as what markets we dive into. But we definitely do want to stay in markets that are high on tourism. So, like, we would never go to somewhere that is like Los Angeles. It's touristy, but not primarily, focus on tourism. So, places like the Smoky Mountains or Joshua Tree, where there's a huge national park that drives tourism year round, will help keep the Airbnb, process going year round, not just, for a short period of time.
That's true.
So, our market over here in Virginia, we have like we're by kind of by like Virginia, North Carolina, and Outer Banks, like kind of like the TV show, is a really big short term rental market, and that's
Oh,
what we
cool.
were looking into is doing short term rentals there. But one of the biggest thing is there's like so many. So how do you go about like kind of standing out when you list your property? Is there like certain tricks to do to get first on the Airbnb side, or how does all that work?
Yeah, we actually just made a video about this on our YouTube channel. So the Real Estate Robinsons, check it out. But yeah, pretty much, it's a big secret, just like on any other platform. They don't really say what the secret sauce is on how you become, how you get that blue check mark on Twitter or Instagram, or how you get on the first page on Airbnb. That you don't really know, but there's articles that have come out saying, how they favor certain listings. And one of the things they've mentioned is the number of 5-star reviews you have. So obviously, the more 5-star reviews you have, the better of a host you are. And then you get super host status. If you have super host status compared to other listings that aren't super hosts, that also takes precedence. What else? Other thing. Oh, and Airbnb also likes to stick to their motto that they offer homes that are cheaper than hotel prices. So
Yeah,
we've noticed that they prefer listings. Let's say they both have 2 bed, 1 bath. They prefer the one that is slightly lowered in price because Airbnb is more customer focused. They have the customers back more than the hosts. So I think that's something we've noticed. Is we play with the numbers. If we drop our rate a little bit, our click to search results populate, better in that sense when our prices are lowered. So I would say lowering your price a little bit, obviously not too much because you don't want to undersell
yeah.
yourself, but compared to your competitors, and then just making sure you guys have great reviews.
So, is there any like, how do you become a super host? Do you just like get a certain amount of 5 stars, or how does that
Yeah,
work?
I'm not sure what the requirements are, but there are like a set of requirements you have to hit, and they do a quarterly like announcement of or assessment of who is a super host. So every quarter they kind of go through all of their hosts and see if you hit all of your requirements. And off the top of my head, it's a certain number of reviews, of 5-star reviews, of your responsiveness. You have to be responsive, like 90% responsive within the first 6 hours of your messages, something like that. And I can't remember all of them, but it's listed on Airbnb. Yeah, if you want to search, yeah, you should definitely becoming a super host is critical to your success. So I would figure out what those rules are and get on it.
Yeah. Did y'all take you a long time to kind of get that, or did it like
No,
take?
not at all. So we started with a couple of properties, and so we were able to get the number of 5-star reviews that were needed. But that quarter period where we had started our business when they just announced their super hosts, so we had to wait till the next quarter. So we started our short-term rental business, I think, in like August of last year when we first went live. And we didn't get the superhost status, I believe, until like December or January. So
I think
didn't
what
take
I'm
long at all.
I think what I'm most afraid about is getting into the short term rental market is because I see people on like social media like throwing huge parties at vacation rentals. It always gets you nervous. But so, have you ever experienced like some like crazy story that something happened at an Airbnb like this went totally wrong or anything like that? Or
Yeah, we also just made a video about that. Check it out on YouTube. But thank God we personally haven't experienced anything too horrific. If you're planning to become a Airbnb host, make sure you are on these Facebook groups where other hosts are on, because these groups are super helpful, and they share a lot of advice and horror stories that they go through that you can learn from. So highly recommend getting on these Facebook groups. But
being
yeah, I hear a bunch of horror stories on these groups, and we've personally never gone through anything that bad. I think the worst was probably, yeah, one renter just wasn't very nice to our property and smoked inside when they weren't supposed to, and left the
yeah.
odor of the cigarettes inside, and kind of just left the place trashed, and just broke like minor things, but not like those horror stories you hear, but still enough to piss us off. And we
Yeah.
um, submitted a claim through Airbnb to get the guest to pay, and they denied it. So again, they prefer their customers. They have the customers back way more than they have the host back. So keep
So
that in
you can
mind.
Yeah.
so someone can come in and they like let's say mess up your house and everything. You put a claim into it, like if the Airbnb says no, you're
And
fine.
that's it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So there's rules. So that's something we learned. So we had this guest that kind of trashed the place, broke a few things, and we submitted a claim, and it got denied. It got denied specifically because we submitted the claim too late. So the rule is you need to submit the claim before your next guest checks in, because then Airbnb can say, well, was it this guest or was it that guest that did it? So we submitted it after 4 p.m. when our new guest checked in. So it wasn't a valid claim. So keynote, submit it ASAP, especially before that next guest checks in. Yeah.
So did your cleaner call you and tell you about that, or?
Yeah, so that's like a regular day-to-day kind of phone call you get. I woke up and our cleaner was upset. That's extra work for them, and
Yeah.
so they sent us a bunch of videos and pictures of the place trashed, and what can we do? We're all upset. We try to file the claim. They have to work extra hard. We pay them a little bit more, and we move on.
Because I know Airbnb, like technically the client person who rents the house is the one who pays the cleaning fee. I guess
Right.
you take that like if it needs extra work, do y'all pay above that or?
Yeah, so instances like that, we did, we just felt, horrible for our cleaners to have to do all the extra work for the same pay. So, yeah, our cleaning fee is what we pay our cleaners directly, so we don't make a profit from that fee.
Yeah.
So yeah, in that scenario, I don't know how much extra we paid, but we did compensate the cleaning team extra for the inconvenience that these jerks caused.
Speaking of the cleaners and everything, so since y'all aren't local to all of your Airbnbs, how do you go about, I guess, finding your team in those areas? Like your
So
cleaners
we also
or
have a video on that, guys. Make sure to check it out on YouTube.
I have to look
But
for
yeah,
your YouTube channel for
yes. But yeah, we always say, me and Tony always say, like, the most important people in on your team for your short-term rental is your cleaner and your handyman, and you can absolutely find these people remotely. You do not have to live in the market that you're live in. So the way we found our cleaner, it was actually our cleaner from Tennessee, was actually a recommendation via one of those Facebook groups I'm talking about. So again, highly recommend joining one of those Facebook groups. They exist in every market. Just, do a quick search on Facebook for these.
You just
But that's
like Facebook group like Outer Banks.
short-term
Airbnb.
group. Yeah. Search different search words like that, short-term rentals in, Outer Banks, or, just do a few searches like that. I'm sure groups will pop up.
Nice.
Um, or there's bigger groups like short-term university. That's one that we're in. What
Okay.
else? Just do short-term rental and a bunch will populate. But yeah, it's annoying to get all of these notifications. But trust me, once you become a host and you're active on day to day, you know, Airbnb hosting, like these scenarios that you read become super helpful because it will eventually happen to you guys, and you already have an idea of how to respond because of these experiences you read on the internet. But yeah, let me get back to so our cleaners in Joshua Tree. I believe we also had a few referrals, and for those, we set up interviews. So we had a few, like let's say 5 referrals, and we set up interviews. We did a phone interview and met them in person just to kind of gauge their energy. You want to make sure you can trust these people, one, and I feel like it's important, at least for us, that you connect with them. Like they're helping you run your business. They're a critical part of your success. So if you don't feel like they're a right fit for your team, then they might not be the best option for you. So we are on our third round of cleaners in Joshua Tree. Unfortunately,
Oh,
the
wow.
first two, yeah, we've had to let go for different reasons. They weren't on it that much. We started to get poor reviews for cleanliness, and again, the poor reviews affects your business, which
Yeah.
then affects everything. So if your cleaners aren't working out, don't be afraid to let them go. That was something I really struggled with. It was like an older sister duo. They were probably like in their 70s, and I just felt really guilty
Yeah.
taking away their livelihood from them. I was like, we're giving them their income right now, and I just felt so guilty taking that from them. And Tony had to snap me out of it and say, look, at the end of the day, they're affecting our business and our livelihood
Yeah.
now. So at the end of the day, it's a business, and we got to do what we got to do. So learn from me, and don't, be so attached to your cleaners or handyman or anybody, because yeah, it's going to mess with your money, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Business first.
So starting out, like, I know you probably learned so much through when you started out. What were some of the big mistakes that you felt like you made at the very beginning?
As far as like setting up the properties, I think spending a lot on unnecessary things. I feel like you're so excited about decorating and making sure it's cute, and a lot of times guests won't even notice that. Like for our Tennessee cabin, the second one, it was again turnkey, and it really didn't need much, and we kind of overspent. I think personally on newer bear posters, and which no guest has ever commented and complimented on these things. So I think overspending on unnecessary things from the jump is probably something that we've learned and don't do anymore. What else? The cleaner situation, I think we've learned, like, hey, if I would give the cleaner 2 strikes, and after 2 strikes, like those are big red flags. Once you get those red flags, like you
Yeah.
got to jump ship and find someone else. And lastly, I think I would say is refunding guests. I feel like we were really nervous at the beginning to get poor reviews. Or to upset the guests. So whatever they would say, we were so quick to offer partial refunds.
Yeah.
And again, that affects your income and your
Yeah.
business system. So we've learned that guests, are okay with just like apologies and fixing the problem instead of always,
Yeah.
expecting money in return. So I think we've eased up on how quickly we are to offer refunds.
So what happens if you do get that 1 star review? Like, is it? And that just like, let's say you have like 4 reviews and you get 1 star, your average is like probably like a 2. So
I
like,
don't
is it
know.
used?
We don't got no 1-star reviews.
Oh, oh,
That's pretty good. That's
Yeah,
not
I
bad.
think the lowest stars we've gotten was 3, and that's one person I can think of, and that's like really bad in host world. If you
yeah,
get 3 stars, that's like ouch. So we had to kind of dig ourselves out of that hole. It felt like it was actually that listing that I told you we had to change our pricing a little bit and do a few things to kind of dig us out of that hole. And to get more bookings, because compared to our other listings that never got that 3-star review, it was doing poorly as far as bookings go. So I think, yeah, that when you get crappier reviews, it really does affect, the booking conversion rate. And not many people are going to want to stay at a 3-star Airbnb, or
yeah.
even less a 1-star.
How much does like making, because I've seen your couple of your short term rentals on like social media. How much does that impact it? Because I've seen you made separate like Instagram pages for certain Airbnbs. Is that like, do you get many from that, or is this kind of like helps people keep coming back?
We have one Instagram page for all of our properties, so it's called the Hideaway House, and we just kind of list our entire portfolio on there. And
Oh,
it's just
okay.
more so, I guess, we just want what I created it purposely so guests can tag us. I just really love
Yeah.
sharing the experience. So
Yeah.
on
Makes
on like our automated messaging, we say like, we hope you checked in okay and hope you're enjoying your experience. We'd love to see how much fun you're having. Please be sure to tag us on Instagram at the Hideaway House. So that's really why I decided to start it. But another reason we wanted to do was like social influencer marketing. So
Yeah.
we reached out to influencers on Instagram and asked if they were willing to stay at our properties in exchange for content, like
Yeah.
when we first got the properties up and running. And we did. We had Jessica Vanessa. I don't know if you guys know her, but she's an Instagram influencer, like with over 1 million followers. She stayed at one of our properties in Joshua Tree. Yeah, really cool. I mean, 1 million followers,
Yeah,
crazy. And
that's
she's
impressive.
amazing to work with. She tagged us on her posts on Instagram and on her story. She did a YouTube video recap on TikTok. Like, she was so great. But we didn't see that much of a,
Right. I got
return from that. So we were like, if this girl has 1 million followers and we didn't see that much of a following jump, that much of a booking jump, then maybe social media marketing isn't that great for short-term
you.
rentals. But we gave it a shot.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got good content, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
So I heard you say something about like automating. Do you automate any of your stuff, like sending out like messages when they get there and messages when
Yeah,
they leave?
absolutely.
How does that work?
We pretty much automated like our entire process. So um, we use this is Tony's World, but it's Smart B&B is the third party application that we use. So Smart B&B is like a place where you can automate all of your messages. So when a booking is confirmed, they get an automated message that says, "Thank you so much. You're confirmed for this day." And 3 days prior to their arrival, another message: "Hey, we're so excited to host you in 3 days. Here's the electronic guidebook with all the details you need." Then the day they arrive, that evening, we hope you checked in okay. Follow us on Instagram. And then the day before they check out, hope you enjoyed yourselves. Please don't forget to turn off the lights, wash the dishes, this and that. And then
Oh,
once
that's
they
nice.
leave, the following day, it's the next message that just thanks them for choosing our house and reminds them how important reviews are and how we hope that they leave a review and let us know of all the pros and cons that we can improve on.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
that would definitely make life a lot easier. Definitely, especially for you. For,
absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
because I
so
was.
I don't even have to type anything. So when I'm saying I'm reading my messages, it's just people responding to those messages. And most of the time, there's like canned responses where, let's say if they say, like, one of the most common things you'll get as a host is, "Can I check in early?" So we have an automated response where the Smart B&B reads that language that the guests send, like check in early, then our automated canned response of what we typically say gets sent to them in return. So it's awesome. I'm just kind of that person, making sure a question doesn't get missed, which happens sometimes because there's so many like automated messages that go out, like I can miss a question, that didn't get answered. So that's what I do when I say I read the messages day to day. I just make sure nothing
So,
got missed.
so basically, when they say this is the best Airbnb I've ever stayed at, that's when you respond to that.
Absolutely. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much.
So I guess we asked what's your least favorite thing about it, but what's your favorite thing about running them or having the short term rentals?
I think my favorite thing is when we do get the reviews or people message us or tag us on Instagram, when you see that you helped create this awesome memory for someone, these are people going on vacation, so to know that we played this small part in this great memory or experience for someone that they'll remember forever, hopefully, that's just
Yeah.
really special to me. So that's what I love about it.
So, what would be your best advice for us? Let's say we were going to go buy our first short-term rental, and we're going to try design and manage and all that stuff. What would be your best advice for us to like managing if an Airbnb the first time?
My best advice for, especially for decorating, back up for decorating, we actually hire someone to do that for us. So,
Really?
yeah, so we hire an interior designer, Brianna Michelle Interiors on Instagram. We always talk about her. She's great. Makes it super easy. But so she pretty much, or anybody should be doing this. Any interior designer will go and measure the space out for you, and then kind of come up with a design PDF and show you this bed should go here, the legs should go there, get this on Amazon, blah, blah, blah. And you just pretty much order it, assemble it, put it up, and then you put your own touches, like get the bedding that you like or the certain artwork that you like, So I think when we started to do Airbnbs and we did it all ourselves, it was so overwhelming. There's just so much to do. There's so much to do, and it can suck the fun out of it because it's just like really overwhelming to make sure you're picking out the right pieces that fit, the pieces that don't have a million pieces to put together, So I think going with a professional, yeah, getting like that IKEA that has like the most confusing instructions, So I think hiring a professional interior designer kind of really helps make that designing process much easier and enjoyable. And as far as like the day-to-day operations, I think again, just be very picky with your cleaning team. Definitely have a handyman on duty that can respond to last minute calls because these crazy scenarios will happen every day, every week. Something will go wrong, and having someone to rely on is crucial. Unless you're willing to go and do it yourself.
So, again, I appreciate you coming on here and sharing. I feel like I've learned a lot.
Now I need to
Oh,
go like
good.
watch your YouTube channel, watch all your videos.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, me and Tony started our YouTube channel just because we were just like you guys, we've just been learning as we go, and you really do learn a lot as you go. So, once you guys get that first property under your belts, you'll feel much more confident to talk about it, Emily, and just to because now you're living proof like, yeah, I do run a short-term rental and this is how we do it, and I don't think there is like a right way to do it. I'm sure there's a million right ways to do it, but me and Tony just want to share our journey with people and hopefully help like I think I did today. So
Yeah, I think the hardest part is just the fear of getting started. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's my biggest issue. Also, it's like, oh, what if it doesn't work out? Like all the what ifs and everything like that. So
yeah, that's why you guys are a team. One of you needs to make the jump and the other one will
yeah,
take on after you guys.
Just
Tony was the
watch
one that
the run.
dragged me into it. So if it weren't for him, I think I would have been too afraid too.
yeah. So I guess you mentioned your YouTube channel. Is that the best place for people to find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Real Estate Robinsons on YouTube is probably the best way to find me, or on Instagram at Sarah Rad, SARAARAAD.
All right. Well, again, thanks for coming on here, and it was really nice talking
Of
to
course. Thank
Yeah.
you guys so much. Congratulations on the new show, and can't wait
you.
to tune in.